Hi there, welcome to BearTalk. In a few days later, 2021 will finally get over, and I don't know how do you feel in this year. And for me, I achieved many of my goals. One of the goals that I achieved is to finish 52 books in this year. Last year, I also did 52 books, 54 books in 2020, and 53 books in 2021. I've planned to read one book every week a few years ago, and some years I failed this goal, and some years I succeed. And I'm happy that I keep doing this every year. And as a second language speaker, I think reading more English books really helped me to improve my understanding about the language and also improve my presentation and communication. So in this video, I will not talk too much things, too much tips or something behind the reading stories, but just as a brief to share what I've learned from reading these books and how I read books, and also, hope something you might find it's interesting. And I think the first thing I want to share is to plan it. And most of the people's New Year's resolution will be, oh, I want to read more books in the next year, which is also quite makes sense. But I would say sometimes it's really hard to keep doing it, as it's just a good wish, but you haven't done it before. So I think it would be good that you do a realistic planning based on what you've done in previous year. For example, if you read 5 books last year, and maybe you can think about, let's double it. Like, let's read 10 books this year and plan for how many books you want to do and how much time you are able to spend on reading, and just go for it. And it would be good to put those blocks on your calendar. So make it seriously. And for me, reading became my habit, so I don't need to plan for it, like plan my schedule for it, but it would be good to do that from start. This is the first thing, planning. And the second thing, what I've learned is reading is something similar as eating. You know, when you consume calories, it's one of the measurements of your nutrition, right? How many calories did you consume every day? This makes sense. This is important, but what is more important sometimes is the quality of the calories, and also depends on different foods. Calories is different. The same calories you consume from avocado might not as the same as the same calories you consume from chocolate or from other food. So what I mean is reading sometimes is the same. You can read some fast content, or just social media content is part of the reading, but maybe it doesn't provide enough calories, enough nutrition for you to improve yourself. And reading a book sometimes is better, or sometimes even worse. So it depends. And also you might want to balance the diversity of the food you're choosing. Like be mindful about the quality, diversity, and quantity while you are reading and while you're picking books. And also, one of the myths is that people say, oh, I want to read some really good books, but read it carefully. Like, I only want to read 10 or 5 best books in this year rather than reading 50 books. But what I found is that you cannot make that decision, that right decision at the very beginning. Like if you haven't read enough, you don't know what are the books that are really good to read, right? Probably you can find from other people's recommendations, from the media, or from other places, or from friends and family. But how did you know they are the best books for you to read? So my suggestion, or what I'm doing, is to read as many books as possible, and then I can score them from 1 to 5. And I found that the books that I give it 1 star probably will be the smallest, and the books that give them 5 stars also not a big amount of number, but most of the books are at the average, which is really makes sense. And then I can know, okay, I still read 6 or 5 or 10 best books for me to improve in this year, which is awesome. So this is my approach. The other thing I want to say, what I've learned is depends on the medium types, the books could be different. So most of the time I use Kindle, iPhone, iPad, and paperback books for reading. And most of the time I read graphic novel or art books on iPad, which is really makes sense, right? Because iPad is have a really large screen, which is so convenient to read graphic novel, comics, or art books. So this is my go-to device when I'm reading those types of the books. And for paperback and Kindle, it's really good for quality reading. I mean, I want to read cover to cover books, cover to cover, and really want to make notes or take quotes from the book. I can read it line by line and highlight the parts that I want to take notes. And also reading paperback is really good. But sometimes, actually, half of my reading this year is from iPhone. And basically, there are 2 formats that I'm consuming books from my iPhone. The major one is the audiobook. So I borrow some audiobooks with my Libby app, and also I bought some books from Audible, which is awesome as well, so that I can listen audiobooks. And also I trained my speed of consuming audiobooks to nearly twice of the speed, so which means that I can read books with half of the time as it is supposed to be, as it estimated, which is really good. And during the commuting and houseworking and some other types of the gray hours, I listened a lot of audiobooks. Nearly 60% of the books that I read this year is audiobook. And the other types of the format will be reading on my iPhone with Kindle app or other platforms. So from there, I can keep reading it, and it's just with some short amount of time, like during one like 5 minutes break, I can pick up some book and read a small part of it and finish it. So this is also quite good. And I carefully choose the books that I consume on different mediums. So and that would be really good to practice if you want to consume books in the digital age, right? Cool. I think that's pretty much what I've learned from reading from those books. And I wrote a blog in Chinese so to share these stories. But if you're interested, I mean, if you want to read Chinese blogs, feel free to jump to my blog. And here I want to share the 10 books that I've read. Yeah, here you can see this is the Notion template I'm using for organizing my books, and also I use Google Reads to make the plan and set up the challenge. And from 2019, I completed my challenge from 30 books to 52 books, and to the same 50 books this year. Actually, I read more books before 2016, but when my daughter was born and when I moved to a new country, it's really challenging to keep that. And here is the analytics that I've done with my reading this year. And here are the 10 books that I highly recommend for everyone to read. The first one, Why We Sleep, is really good. It shows how important and crucial sleep for everyone. And Anti-Fragile by Nassim Nicholas Taleb. This is really this is an awesome book for your strategic thinking. Yeah. And How to Read Novel Like a Professor. This is also an awesome book that if you want to consume more fiction, that's the book you will learn some basic formats or tips for reading a novel. And Why Buddhism is True. So good. I am not going to describe how good it is. Yeah, it can change your understanding about Buddhism. Arzak. This is a comic from Mobius, and it's a revolutionary comic. So, and it's really short, without any language, without any copy. So there's no copy, no no conversation in this comics. Highly recommend. The Barefoot Investor, number 6. This is a book about how do you invest with your family and yourself. So the money guide for people, especially for the people living in New Zealand or Australia, is really good. I hope I can describe books in a better way, because every book I say, oh, it's really good. Yeah, so I will practice. I add it to my to-do list next year. The Almanac of Neville Ravikant. This book is the collection of Neville's Twitter. And Neville, he's the guy who really know how to share wisdom with just a few words. And his Twitter is so awesome, so highly recommend as well. Understanding Comics. This book disguises itself as a comic book, but actually it's not. It's really serious about the medium of comics and how it describes the story and what's the format, and everything you want to learn about comics is from this book. You can learn it from this book, so highly recommend. Number 9, Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. Awesome. Number 10, All Men Are Brothers. This is a classic Chinese book, and there are 4 classic Chinese books that say every Chinese should read it, and they are basically the holy grails of Chinese literature. And this is the book of the comment for or the review from modern readers' perspective. And I really like this author, so yeah, love it. Cool. So, and also these are all the books that I read in this year. So yeah, Hope it makes sense for you. And if you like this one, be sure to subscribe my channel here. Yeah, here. And also leave your comment. And also one question: how many books did you read in 2021, and what's your plan for reading in next year? Please leave your comment below, and hope you like this video. I'm Bear. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.